Roxy, Salah Salim, Suez, and all the governments of Egypt, and of course, they will not be terrorized like the massacres of women in Mansoura. 6. We assert that the blood of the martyrs will always and forever be victorious on the bullets of treason. 7th, the speeches and talks about war on terror confirm that explosions of detonative devices and criminal activities that have befallen both military and civilian populations in Egypt are nothing more than intelligence-run operations to create a scene of chaos that would allow and give precedent to crimes and violations expected to demonize the peacefulness of the revolution. And our very own media has already started to shed the way for that. 8th, the coalition calls on Sheikh Ahmed al-Tayyib, the Sheikh of Al-Azhar, and on Pope Tawadros of the Coptic Church, and on all parties, movements, and elite groups of the Egyptian society to declare a clear stance from this despicable, ugly call for battle between different parties and different parts of the population, and they should distance themselves from being used as cover to kill Egyptians. 9th, the coalition calls on the international community with all its institutions and organizations, including but not limited to the United Nations, human rights organizations, and others, to clearly declare a full rejection of the plan to shed blood and to ignite the entire region, put in forth by the head of the military coup, Abdel Fattah al-Sisi. And we echo a call to the International Criminal Court to take the necessary measures to put Abdel Fattah al-Sisi on trial for crimes against humanity. 10th, the coalition addresses all the Egyptian people, and specifically the members of the armed forces and the police force, to not answer such calls, such irresponsible calls, to kill their Egyptian brethren and countrymen. 11th, the coalition echoes and reiterates its previous call on all people of Egypt to come to all the stages, all the squares and the streets of Egypt in all governorates, starting now and not ending on Friday, continuously with no stop. The pinnacle will be next Friday's Million March across all Egypt, titled "Bringing Down the Military Coup," until the coup is dismantled, reversed, and until freedom is restored to this land. Allahu Akbar, and long live Egypt. Signed by the National Coalition of Legitimacy and Refusal of the Military Coup.
We call upon the army and the police not to respond to the irresponsible calls to kill the Egyptian people. The words there of Jihad Haddad, speaking on behalf of the National Coalition for Legitimacy. That's a group which is opposed to the military intervention which unseated Egypt's first democratically elected president. The spokesperson there making a statement on the heels of an earlier speech given today by General Abdel Fattah al-Sisi, the Egyptian Minister of Defense, in which the Minister of Defense called for Egyptians to come out on Friday and give the army a mandate to deal with what the army called and what Abdel Fattah called terrorism. Well, there we heard a strong rejection of that call by the Minister of Defense, by the spokesperson of the National Coalition for Legitimacy, who went on to up the stakes and called for the ICC, the International Criminal Court, to pursue General al-Sisi for what he called crimes against humanity. He said that the speech amounted to incitement and showed the disarray and arrogance and lack of direction of the armed forces.